We need to talk about when the love bombing doesn't work. Welp. Because I know that's a man's worst nightmare. After you put all that energy into lying and inflating your capabilities, you fell flat on your face because it was all a lie. It was all a lie. This is hilarious because I'm no stranger to being love bombed. As a Nigerian woman who is surrounded by a community of Nigerian men, it is a Nigerian man's initial and most go-to approach to love bomb a woman. If you're not familiar with love bombing as a concept essentially is when a person who likes you, in air quotes, so they fancy you, I guess. When a person who fancies you goes about it in a way where they are almost overloading you with love. So it could be that they're buying you loads of gifts, giving you loads of money, or they're not giving you anything yet, but they're talking a big game. They're talking a really massive game of what they want to do for you, what they see you and them being in future. If you're a woman who dates men, you've probably been love bombed at some point in your life, and I think what makes love bombing shit, it's not the promises, it's the realization that this guy was just pulling an alley oop on you. Like it's so shit when you clock that. Oh, okay, he was just saying that. Damn. Well, that's awkward because I believed him. That's embarrassing. You don't want to be in that position. So, in this episode, we'll be talking through ways to, I guess, avoid being in that position. Because nobody wants to be Boo the Fool. So, when I think about times when I've been love bombed, well, it happens to the best of us, okay? I've had guys, I've had guys, love bomb me by telling me, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy your tickets. I'm gonna send you money. I'm gonna do all the things." But they're doing that because they think that that's gonna get me really excited, and that's gonna make me see them as irreplaceable. When actually, what's going through my mind when a man is love bombing me is, okay, we'll have to see. Not sure about this guy, but we'll have to see. Because usually, the bigger a man talks his game, the more likely it is that he's love bombing you. Because if a man's actually about it, he'll be doing at the same time as saying. So what does that mean? If he's talking about I want to buy your ticket, I'm going to send you money, he will already have sent you money. He would already have done an iteration of the things he's promising so that you know that this is a man who he keeps to his word. Do you get? But the purpose of love bombing is it's a method of distraction to lure you into a psychological place of being more open to intimacy with that man. That's the whole reason why he's doing that. That man isn't love bombing you because, oh, yeah, love at first sight. When you know, this is definitely the love of my life, even though I've only spent 30 seconds talking to her, I just know she's the love of my life, so I've got to do whatever it takes to lock this down. No. When a man is love bombing you, it's because he wants to see if he can have sex with you as quickly and as stress-free as possible. He's trying to get in and get out. And I know a lot of women don't like to hear that because they like to think that they're special. Because love bombing makes you feel special. That's why it works. I am a human being. I love a cheeky love bomb. But you see me, I'm an advanced player. So when a man is love bombing me, I act like I'm in on it. When he's like, I had one the other day. Yeah, I want to marry you. I want you to have 2 daughters for me. Yeah, I'm gonna spoil you. Oh, When a man starts saying things like, I'm gonna spoil you, start putting on your shoe. Start going. Because I'm gonna spoil you. The word spoil, right? That's specific language that has been chosen. I'm gonna spoil you. Sounds pretty exciting to me. I don't know about you, but when a man says I'm gonna spoil you, I'm like, oh, lots of gifts, lots of money, lots and lots of fun and festivities. I would love to be a part of that. That's how they want you to react. But the reality is, if a man is gonna spoil you, for you to know if he's the kind of guy that will see it through, he needs to have already bought you stuff. He needs to have already done stuff for you. And also, a man who's actually going to spoil you isn't going to say, I'm going to spoil you. He's just going to do it. So be mindful of that. Beware. Because I'm grateful and glad that I'm not a woman that love bombing stuff has worked on. Yeah, in the past, it might have worked enough for me to sleep with a guy. But as a more refined babe, I feel so equipped, like, you cannot trick me. You cannot trick me. And men hate that. They be big angry when the love bombing don't work. They're like, what do you mean you didn't fall for it? You fucking hoe. Then they start slut shaming you. Then they start calling you out your name. Then they start acting all cold with you. Then they start acting fuzzy and vague with you. So now you're the one who is seeking clarity. The fuck is that? Seeking clarity? See me, I don't seek clarity no more with men, because let me tell you, when a man creates an environment that is unclear, that's the clarity that you need. It might not sound like it makes sense, but I promise you, it makes sense, because it is never in a man's interest to create a grey area with a woman who he actually fancies and wants to be with. Because the grey area only puts him in a position to lose you. If a man who actually likes you wants to be with you, he wouldn't put himself in a position to lose you. Therefore, he wouldn't create a grey area, i.e., he's not going to blow hot and cold with you. These are the ways that you need to be thinking when the love bombing is happening. Always ask yourself, when a guy is just being really, really, really nice to you, ask yourself, why is he being so nice to me? Because you know what, yeah? Let me entertain some possibilities here. It could genuinely be that he's not trying to sleep with you, but maybe he just fancies you. Because not every guy is sexually confident. Like, some guys are a little reserved, a little shy, a little awkward, but they enjoy your feminine presence because that does something for them. This is another thing that I think women need to understand. Like, part of why men love bomb women is because they enjoy the response they get from women. They enjoy when you are very excitable and when you are becoming more and more open to them because of the fake promises that they've created. They enjoy that access. It does something for them. There are men who, they don't have to sleep with a woman to still experience some sort of sexual essence from her. You don't know if that man is around you because he enjoys using you as wank material. There are women who, they really, really love the idea of being love bombed. And they'd be upset when the love bombing has ended. To me, that just reminds me of the idea of being upset that the kidnapper didn't choose you. Like, why are you upset that he's not love bombing you? He's not love bombing you because he knows that it's not going to work with you. That's why. Similarly speaking, the kidnapper didn't choose you because you're not optimum victim, innit? Like, you're not well suited for the definition of victim. So you should be flattered that the kidnapper didn't choose you, okay? You should be very relieved to know that you are not material for the kidnapper. In the same way, When a guy's love bombing you, or if a guy decides that you're not love bomb material, you should be flattered. You should be glad to know, yeah, he knows that his game don't work around here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because there's the thing with love bombing as well, yeah. If you don't have a very educated and refined relationship with your ego, you're likely to fall into this. So that's why it's important to pay attention to what the environment within you and around you looks like when the love bombing doesn't work. Because we talk a lot about love bombing from a place of like, beware, and watch out. But let's dive a little deeper into what actually happens when the love bombing doesn't work. Because I've seen men switch up. The switch up, girl. You know what these guys do? When they love bomb you and it doesn't work, i.e. you haven't slept with them, or you've stopped giving them attention, or they can tell that their efforts just haven't yielded anything, what do? They ghost you. But for these guys, right, when they're ghosting you, they're not ghosting you because they are suddenly overcome by responsibility and tasks and chores and commitments. They're ghosting you because they want to see if you're going to cave and reach out to them. Because the act of you caving and reaching out to them, that's more than enough implication for them to see that love bombing has worked, because you're missing them. That's all they need to see. So this is why when the love bombing doesn't work, just prepare yourself to see what the real him looks like. Because I always believe that you don't know a man until you say no to him. You don't know a man until you decide you don't want to sleep with him. Because you know what it is, right? Like, when a man is love bombing you, I think he has a higher sense of entitlement over you, because he feels like he's putting in all this performative effort and he's hoping that he's going to get something out of it. He's hoping that you are going to become gassed from the love bombing and hand yourself over to him and just let him have his way with you because of some shoddy promises that he made. When actually, if a man makes promises, he needs to keep them. And keeping to your promises doesn't mean you should be rewarded with pussy. It just means that you kept to your promise. So, in that time where the guy has decided to disappear on you after he's love bombed you, that's time for you to be strong, girl. Be strong. You got this. First 72 hours is always the hardest. The first 3 days of a guy ghosting you is the hardest, especially if he was love bombing you before disappearing. The reason why I say the first 72 hours of a guy ghosting you after love bombing is the hardest is because you're confronted with the contrast of what he promised versus how he's now treating you. And you're reckoning with the possibility that you might be stupid because you low-key kind of fell for it. Girl, I've been there. Oh my God. And you know what? Let me tell you, yeah, it doesn't stop happening. I just want to give you that little spoiler alert. The love bombing won't stop because most men are going to do what has worked for them in the past. It is not personal. When a guy is love bombing you, he's doing so because in the past, he has love bombed women and it's gotten him somewhere. So men are only going to do what they know is most likely to breed results for them. So if he has love bombed you and decided to start ghosting, it's because it didn't work. Okay? Congratulations. Well done. But you're not out of the woods just yet, because this is the part where you have to be really strong. He's holding out on speaking to you because he wants to see if you're going to reach out to him. Because you reaching out to him shows that you've been thinking of him, But it doesn't just show you've been thinking of him, it shows that you are affected by his absence. And abusive men value that. They like knowing that you see them as somewhat irreplaceable. They like feeling needed. But what's interesting about men who like feeling needed is majority of these guys are avoidant in their attachment style. So they very briefly enjoy the feeling of being needed, but then they quickly feel suffocated. And I see this happen all the time. Because you know what? Everyone thinks that their scenario is unique. But I see this happen all the time, where an anxious woman gets with an avoidant man. It's classic. Because you know opposites attract, right? And it's not very often that you see two avoidants successfully dating each other. And I say successfully, tentatively, in air quotes, because what successfully means in this particular example is managing to stay together for a while. I don't necessarily think that the success of a relationship is the length of it, because you can be in an unhappy situation for a long time and just not move. But in terms of love bombing and abusive men, for them, it's good results if the woman is still around. So when it doesn't work, this is where you need to now put your actual spectacles on and start observing, because you're going to see the real him. The measure of a man, in my opinion, is in how he behaves when you don't react in the way that he had hoped or expected. So what does that mean? Well, in the context of a failed attempt at love bombing, the measure of that man, the measure of his goodness, the measure of his nobleness can be observed through whether he still keeps that energy up even if you don't give him access to your pussy. The measure of a man in the context of love bombing is seeing how long he's able to go without talking to you. This is why I believe in competing on the silence competition, but competing to win. Because look, once a man decides he wants to compete with you, he's disqualified. But just see the competition through and let him know that you're not an idiot. Compete with him and ignore him back. But whenever he decides to cave, don't see him as a serious candidate, because he was able to go how many weeks without talking to you? How many weeks was that of him ignoring you, ghosting you, going silent on you, but still watching your stories? Meanwhile, weeks before that, he was talking to you pretty much every day, talking a big game. So in the same way it was intentional for him to talk a big game to you, it was also intentional for him to disappear on you. It's all intentional with men. They know what they're doing. So this is why I love I love being in that stage where it's like, oh, you want to play silence competition with me? I'm going to act like you died. So what I like to do is, when a man love bombs me, he's getting muted on everything. You know, when you mute someone on Instagram, you can mute their story or you can mute their post. I mute both posts and story. Out of sight, out of mind. Okay? Out of sight, out of mind. If I don't see you, you don't exist to me anymore. And if you don't exist to me, then I wouldn't be thinking about you. And if I'm not thinking about you, then you have no space in my mind. And when you have no space in my mind, you're irrelevant. And when you're irrelevant, you have no effect on me. So if you live or die, I don't care. Wish you the best though, but I don't care. That's my personal outlook on this. When the silence game is silence gaming, I'm like, player one, let's go. Let's go. Because I'm sorry, a man who wants to compete with you on who's going to ignore who is a bitch. He's a little bitch. You gonna date a little bitch? Men who can love bomb you and then suddenly go 2 weeks without talking to you are little bitches. It's all part of their game to get you in a position where you are more likely to give them sexual access to you based on unfulfilled promises. They are hoping that you are stupid enough, goofy enough, lonely enough to fall for love bombing. So when it doesn't work, that's when you see the real him. A man who can ghost you after love bombing you is not somebody that likes you, okay? I don't care how you want to spin it. I don't care if he's still watching your stories. They're going to do that because they're flicking through the carousel of stories. Most men don't care to mute you or hide your story. They don't care. They'll just watch your story. Tap, 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 tapping through. They're not looking at your stories thinking, oh, it's day 37 of me and her not speaking. Oh, I can't hold it in. I really want to talk to her, but I must show her that I'm the prize as a man. They're not doing all that. They're just watching your stories because it's there. So you might be thinking, oh, he's ghosted me. Well, I'm going to look really good. I'll show him. Do you know how many people he's been love bombing? Do you know how many people he's copy and pasted this game on? He has just thrown a net out far into the water and he's gathering his net. Even if he doesn't catch a whole school of fish, he gonna catch 2 or 3 at least. That's better than none. That's how he sees it. So men who are quick to love bomb, men who are flippant and loose with their promises, is because they're doing that with a lot of people. And it's an approach that clearly works for them. So that's why you need to be strong when you're ignoring him. That's it. But also, even while you're being love bombed, I would say if you're an advanced player, do like me and act like you're in on it. You know, act like, oh, that sounds really nice. You're going to do that for me? Oh, that's so sweet. That is really sweet. You know, you never really struck me as the romantic type, you know. Oh, what? You're going to get me a ring? Stop it. You really like me, don't you? Oh, that is adorable. Let me see what ring you're going to get me. Oh, well, I can't wait to receive it. It will look really good on my finger. Yeah, You said you're going to send me 5K? Oh, well, you know, I'm always happy to receive from you. Just keeping it light and fun. And then when he doesn't deliver, you're not going to be there being like, oh my God, I can't believe you lied to me. No. Do you know how I see it? When a man is love bombing you, to me, it's no different to talking to a child, right? And this 4-year-old child tells you that they are actually a Power Ranger and they drive an ice cream van and they have lots of bunnies in their ice cream van. You're going to be like, oh, you're a Power Ranger? What colour is your suit? Blue. And you have an ice cream van? You got lots and lots and lots of lollies in your ice cream van? Can I have a lolly? Whoa. And there's rabbits? Rabbits? What noise does a rabbit make? Yeah, it makes a squeaky noise. Wow, you're so smart. Can I have a lolly now? No? Okay, don't worry. I'll ask you again later if I can have a lolly from your super magical Power Ranger ice cream man van with the rabbits inside it. That's how you got to talk to these men when they love bombing you. Just be in on their stupid little joke. And then when it doesn't work, they look stupid. They thought they pulled a fast one. So another thing that I do, right? And this is why I personally believe if it's accessible to you, if it's within your remit, go for it. Have a second phone. Okay? A smartphone that can run WhatsApp. That's all you need. A smartphone that can run WhatsApp. Have a second phone. Stick a SIM card in there. And when men want to be chatting you up, Obviously, you'll be able to discern if this is someone who should have your actual personal number, or if this is somebody who they deserve the secondary phone number. Because sometimes it could be that this guy, you've already got loads of mutual friends of him, and like you see him quite often because of where you hang out. So it's not necessarily an issue to give him your personal number. And if it ends up being that he is just a shit talking love bomber who has nothing tangible to show for all the promises he's making, then you can still block him on your personal phone. But I do think that psychologically, it's much easier to navigate a love bombing man if you have a second phone in which you've given him the number to that phone. And so this is something that I do. And I mainly do this with Nigerian men. Nigerian men, they can't get enough of me, okay? Especially the older ones, right? So when they want to do their love bombing, because older Nigerian men, all they know is love bomb, love bomb, love bomb. So when they want to do their love bombing, I give them that secondary phone number. And what I do is I leave that phone at home while I go about my day. So sometimes 4 or 5 hours might fly by and he hasn't got a response from me. It's because I physically wasn't by the phone. He wouldn't know that though, because he doesn't need to know that. But what he does need to know is that I'm not desperate to talk to him. And in the times when I'm not speaking to him, his mind is wandering. His mind is visiting multiple possibilities of what I could be doing that's so much more interesting than talking to him, the love bomber. Another reason why I think this approach is more empowering if you are new to this and trying to overcome the serial love bombers that you keep on coming across. On this second phone, I think as well, right? When he eventually starts to do that thing where he's ghosting you to see if the love bombing has worked, because it's on a phone that's not your main phone, just let that phone battery even die. Yeah? Before you know it, 2 weeks have flown by and you've not heard from him, he's not heard from you. But because he hasn't got your primary actual main phone number, i.e. the phone that's always in your hand, you're not going to feel this attachment to the possibility of a message being from him. So you know when someone's ghosted you, or you know when you're missing someone, or you know when you're anticipating hearing from someone and you get a notification on your phone, a part of you hopes that it's them. It's natural, I get it. But a part of you be hoping that it's them, right? So if you had given this guy your personal phone number, he's now invaded your personal space in a way where if you're just trying to browse your phone, or if you're just in your zone and you get a notification, subliminally, you're hoping that it's him. I don't like that, because I think that even if you're putting on a good act of coming across unaffected by his love bombing, as long as there is still that psychological attachment to him, he still has something over you. He might not know it, but he still has something over you. And that's not where you want to be. You want to be in a place of complete detachment. And I do think that a physical detachment is needed, i.e. a physical separate device. If you can afford it, if it's accessible to you, I would say do that. I would say get the second phone and give him that number. Because this happened to me recently with a guy, actually. He was talking a big game. Big game. Talking about he wants to fly me for holiday to a country that I actually want to go to. Because for me, I don't really know where I sit anymore on this whole flying out thing. What I mean by that is, you know, that whole idea of like a guy flying you out, a guy buying you plane tickets. I'm not sure how I feel about it anymore. Like, I think if a guy actually really, really likes you, he can come to you. Like, he can fly to you. Because air travel is really inconvenient. I'm sorry, guys. That novelty wore off for me ages ago. I've traveled so much that if I can avoid getting on a plane, I will. Like, when I want to go to Europe, like when I want to go to Paris or Amsterdam, if Eurostar is within my reach, travel and time wise, I'm getting that Eurostar, babe. I'm not about to be carrying a little toiletry bag of my bare essentials because there's a limit of luggage and there's a limit of liquids I can bring on a plane. No, I hate that. It's so and then you're doing waiting for your suitcase to arrive, and then you're doing border patrol. What's it? You know when you got to show your passport and explain why you're in the country. I'm doing all that to meet a man. No, he needs to do all that to meet me. Like, I want him to come meet me. I want him to go through border patrol, to go through packing his suitcase, to go through arriving at the airport 2 hours before departure, to go through that long ass security queue in the airport. I want him to go through all of that just so he can see me. That's the real flex. Okay? But this guy, he was talking about, so, oh yeah, I want to fly him, I'll buy a plane ticket. The only reason why I was open to his suggestion of buying me a plane ticket is because it's a country that I already wanted to go to. For me, where I make exceptions with this whole flying in, flying out thing is, if a guy wants to fly me to a country that I've been wanting to go to, yeah, of course. Love that. I would love to go. Granted that I have made my own relationships out there. So for example, right, I want to go to LA soon. If a guy pops up out of the ether and he's like, I want to fly you to LA, and if he's actually seriously about it, and if he actually does fly me to LA, I already would have made my own connections out there by the time I'm arriving, so that I'm not bound to his itinerary. I'm not feeling stuck on his time. I'm not feeling neglected if he can't hang out with me for 12 hours a day because he's got a life. But again, as I was saying, this guy talking a big game, talking about he gonna fly me to the country that I want to go to. I was in on the joke, I was in on the prank. It was fun until it wasn't. He was talking about, because what happened was, when he said he wants to fly me to the country that I want to go to, I was like to him, well, if you want me to travel with you, the only issue here is that you would be taking me away from my work. And so you would need to make up for the money that I would miss out on from leaving the country to travel with you. He was like, how much do you need? I was like, £5,000. I think £5,000 would do. He was like, okay, that's fine. I can do that. I was like, in my head, I'm like, okay, say less. But again, at this point, I know that it's still love bombing. It's love bombing. But I'm in on it. So it's fine. So when I said 5K and he was like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Then he started talking a big game about how he's got lots of connections in the industry, and he thinks that I can be a superstar, and here are the names of the celebrities that he wants to connect me with so that I can grow my profile out in another country. Big talk. Because women are love bombing you, right? They're going to assess you, and they're going to target the places where they think you might need something from them. So there are men who they will assess you and they'll think, okay, what this girl needs from me is designer bags. She really seems to like designer bags, or she seems desperate to have that lifestyle. So I'm going to hang that over her head. For some women, a man might observe those women, and he might be like, it's like she really wants to have a leg up in her music career. So I'm going to pretend to be that person who's going to connect her with star producers and music management, and I'm going to pretend that she's going to meet Beyonce. All these really grandiose gestures and promises. Men are not afraid to do all that if it means they're going to get pussy on the other side of that promise. Because remember, a promise is only comfort to a fool, as they say. And they think you're foolish. And it's up to you to show them that you're not foolish. So, with this guy, love bombing with, I'm going to fly you to the country. I'm going to give you 5K. I'm going to make you famous. So I was in on it, right? But at the same time, what I did to maintain my power when he was talking about the I'm going to make you famous stuff was I would always genuinely approach that conversation from a place of, I want this to feel organic. So I would only want for you to do what feels right and organic in the moment. Don't feel pressured to do anything. I know how it gets in the industry. Some people might not be up for it, but that's cool. Just don't worry. Just do what feels organic. So in me saying that to him, that was essentially my way of making it known to him that I'm not desperate. Of course, it'll be nice to access these opportunities you speak of, but don't feel pressured. Don't feel forced. Let it be organic. Because, anybody who's hearing that, they're not going to perceive desperation from someone who's saying, let it be organic. Don't worry about it. There's no pressure. So in that vagueness, he now feels like he hasn't really got the power over me that he would have liked for that particular love bombing technique to have created for him. So that's what led to him going quiet on me, because the last conversation that I had with him, which at the point of telling you this story, the last time me and him spoke was probably I think it was 3 weeks ago, which is unlike him according to the energy I was getting for the whole 2-week duration of knowing him. But what led to him going quiet was because in the last conversation we had, he was talking about all these big opportunities and celebrities that he wants to align me with and how he wants to help me out, because he's very connected in the industry. He wants to help me out. And so I was like, okay, I mean, let's talk business though. Like, what's this going to look like? And he said something crazy, like 70-30 split, meaning that he's going to create a company for the creative ventures that he wants to do with me, but it will be a 70-30 split to him, meaning he'll make 70% and I'll only make 30%. I was like, only 70. No, carry the whole thing. Why don't you carry the whole thing? 70-30, the audacity. 70-30 is crazy to me. Nothing is ever that serious. I'm grateful to be in a place in my life and in my career where love bombing can't work on me, because whatever you're dangling over my head, God can do it for me. Whatever you're hanging above my head, I can get there if I really, really wanted to. It might take me longer because I haven't used the connects that you're hanging over my head, but I will get there if I absolutely want to. So we got to a place in that conversation where I wasn't happy with the 70-30. Then he was like, don't worry, we can negotiate it. I was like, fine. But then he said, okay, so the ball is now in your court. Like, decide what you want to do. Like, do you want to come to travel and then we can start talking business? Like, what do you want to do? And then I said to him, I'll think about it. And then that's how we haven't spoken for 3 weeks. Now, someone hearing that might think, well, Chidi, he said that you should make a decision and then let him know. Yeah, but what he needed to have done is he needed to have follow up with me. He needs to message me and be like, did you think about it? Because that's what tells me if a guy likes me. I don't care if that sounds ridiculous. I don't give a fuck how that sounds. Let me tell you why I don't give a fuck yet. Because, think about it. A man who is trying to toast you. Mind you, this man is, I want to say he's in his late 40s. At youngest, late 40s, right? This man's trying to talk to a hot 29-year-old. So you should be chasing around after me. You should be following up with me after following up with me. You should be the one initiating contact. You should be the one to maybe give me like a week or so. And if you don't hear from me, then you can message me and be like, did you think about the idea we discussed? Do you still want to do it? That's what I'm expecting. So because 3 weeks have flown by and I ain't heard from him, now it's too awkward for me to now message him out of the blue and be like, yeah, so I thought about it. Because now that looks desperate. Now, I know somebody hearing this is probably going to think, what the hell, girl, just message him. No, because this is how you maintain your power as a woman. This is the part where people trip up, okay? If a man is comfortable playing a silence competition with you, you need to take that for what it is. Observe that for what it is. And instead of talking to him, go out with your friends. Go and make something of your evening. Go talk to your homegirls. Go spend time with people who actually love you. And on the topic of spending time with people you care about and going out with your gals, I've got a motive for you guys. If you have some availability on October 26th, I will be doing a live show in Leicester Square Theatre. This is huge news. This is a big deal. I am deeply excited about it. I don't think you understand how gassed I am about this. The last time I did a live show of this nature was in 2020, guys. That was when I released How to Get Over a Boy. And that live show was in Hackney at a venue called Earth. And 600 plus of you sold it out, which was amazing. This time round, we're doing Leicester Square Theatre. And I'm really excited to be doing the live show at this venue because it is such a fancy venue. You're getting the posh red seats, guys. The posh red theatre seats with a shiny stage. So if you would love to enjoy a show that is hilariously educational and spectacularly hilarious, where we discuss disobedience, dating, and dominating men, then head to the Leicester Square Theatre website to grab your tickets to my October 26th live show called Patriarchy's Worst Nightmare. Tickets have already been selling because I did release a bunch of pre-sale tickets for O2 customers and those have been going. But now tickets are available for general release. So I would definitely say secure yours now because this is a one show only. I will only be doing one show. And if you paid attention to what I was saying, my last show of this nature was in 2020. So don't put yourself in a position where you might have to wait another 4 years for a live show. No, I'm joking. It won't get to 4 years, but this is one show only. This is the only show I'm doing this year. That's October 26th, Leicester Square Theatre. You can get your tickets on the Leicester Square Theatre website. You can search Slumflower live show Leicester Square. I will see you there. I'm really looking forward to putting on an exciting show for you. I've got some spectacular things planned that you've never seen me do before. And I think we'll leave it at that. But if you're looking for something to do with your girls, rather than waiting for a man who is love bombing you to break the silence and talk to you, please put some things in the diary, okay? Go to a Slumflower live show. Go for brunch with the girls. Go on a gallery trip with the girls. Go on a gallery trip with yourself. Find something to do. Start signing yourself up for things that will get you out of the house. Yes. Because I do think that when you fall for men's game, it could be depressing because you feel like Boo Boo the Fool. I think that's what makes it hard to move on. When you can't believe that you were actually that goofy to have fallen for that. That's what makes moving on quite hard. Yeah. And it happens to the best of us. Yeah. That's why when a man is love bombing me, I love bomb him back. Start love bombing men back. When they're talking about, oh, I want to marry you. Oh, really? You want to marry me? Oh, I want to spend all your money. You're so sexy. I love it when you look at me like that. It makes me want to take your credit card and do some nasty things to it. When they start talking about sex, you start talking about money. Let's both be uncomfortable. Oh, you don't like that? Oh, you don't like me talking about money? Then stop talking about sex. There. Case closed. Done. Moving on. But yeah, you have to be strong. You got to be strong. When a guy starts ghosting you, it's because he's realizing something he's doing isn't working, and this is his last attempt to see if you're gonna cave. Don't fall for it. I don't care if you want to remind him about something. I don't care if he left his fucking USB with you. He can buy another one on Amazon. Because that's the equivalent of, when a guy wants an excuse to talk to you and he finds your bobby pin or your hairband in the car, or he finds a fucking press on nail. He's like, oh, he sends you a picture. Oh, I found this. Is this yours? Do you want to come collect it? I'm not coming to meet you to collect a press on nail. I'm not coming to meet you to pick up a bobby pin. Throw it away. So in the same way, if he forgot his USB wire with you, don't worry, he'll buy another one. If he forgot his portable charger, congratulations, it's yours now. Don't cave. Don't do it, because let me catch you. Let me catch you messaging a guy who was love bombing you and trying to catch you out. Let me catch you. Anytime you feel tempted to cave in, just remember my voice being like, if I catch you, let me catch you. Let me catch you, bruv. Don't do that. You got to have self-worth, yeah? And the thing about self-worth is that, yeah, it's expensive if what you're losing out on is the opportunity to have your time wasted. But I truly believe that you'll never miss out on what's meant for you if you're operating from a genuine place of acting on what truly is your worth. And that will look different for everyone. And it might not make sense to everyone. And that's fine. But please, stay strong in it. When the love bombing doesn't work, you will see a side of him that you've never seen before. And you can't let that catch you slipping. Like, don't become emotional. Don't become clingy. Don't become attached. And this is another thing. When the love bombing doesn't work, yeah, usually these guys assume that you're talking to other men. Because why would you be so okay with not hearing from him? He thought his game was going to work, and it didn't work. Now he's upset that the game didn't work, so he's thinking, you must be talking to another guy. Surely. There's no way. So this is why I believe in talking to multiple men. Yes, I do. And, there won't always be the opportunity to talk to multiple men, because in order to talk to multiple men, you need to find multiple men interesting, right? And you might not find every guy as interesting as the other. There might be a fave. You might have the one that you still like more than all of them. And why is it always that the one that you like the most out of all of them, that's the one that's acting the most mad? That's the one that's trying to ignore you and ghost you. That's the one that's giving you challenge. That's why, listen, the more I like a guy, the more I practice detachment. Because I don't like the kind of animal I become. I like the kind of animal that I become. I do not like the kind of animal that I become when I like a guy back and I notice something has changed. But I can't pinpoint what has changed. But I just know something has changed. I don't like it. I don't like how it feels. Because to me, it just feels like he's gotten what he wanted from me and now he's moved on. And it's not always sexual, but there's something that he got from me. He has enjoyed inhaling my feminine energy, and now he's used that to give him the pep in his step that he needed to chat up another girl. I don't like that. I'm not comfortable with that at all. Cut the cameras. Dead ass. I mean it though. I don't like that shit. So this is why I'm grateful that I have reached a place in my journey as a woman where love bombing doesn't affect me. Like, obviously, I'm still going to get a little bit giddy and excited when he's talking his game, but that's just because I like the idea of a guy liking me more than I actually like men, if that makes sense. So this is why I don't really know where I sit on the spectrum of sexuality, okay? Some might say that I'm bisexual, but I would describe myself as a fraudulent bisexual because I find women attractive. Am I gonna sleep with them? Not at the moment. No. I respect women too much. No, the reality is, right, I don't feel happy saying this, but I have to speak my truth and somebody will resonate. The reality is, yeah, I'm not comfortable with treating women the way I treat men. And I know that if I was to date women, I feel like I'd behave in the same way that I behave when I'm dating men. And that's not good. That's not good at all. So I get a lot of girls who fancy me and who wanna and I just keep it very fun and friendly and cute. Okay? Because I'm not somebody you want to date. I've already hardwired myself to be a menace and I enjoy carrying out those crimes with men. I don't have it in me to be mean to women. I just don't. But with men, I've always got it in me to be mean to them because they're fucking wankers. So why I was talking about this is because when I say I like the idea of men liking me more than I like men, I think it's like it's that whole thing of me saying that I think I'm grey asexual. Like I think I'm asexual, but in a grey area of the asexuality where I still have sexual attraction to men to some degree, but I can go the rest of my life without sleeping with a man ever again and still feel fine. But also, I think as well, there is something about I don't mind being love bombed because I know that it's going to come to an end soon. But while it's happening, I like the ego stroke. And because I like the ego stroke of being love bombed, I don't let it be more than just an ego stroke. Because I know that when he realizes that I'm not going to give out, I'm not going to sleep with him, he will stop the love bombing and we'll go back to acting like we don't know each other. So while it's here, I'm going to be twirling my hair and be like, whole time, I'm like, this is going to come to an end soon. So I'm going to enjoy this while it lasts. Like, I enjoy the gifts. I enjoy the treats. I enjoy the cash. I'm an Igbo woman. I'm biologically wired to enjoy spending men's money. I can't help it. I can't help it. It's in my biology. So that's why love bombing don't affect me. It just gets me gassed and it gets me paranoid. Imagine being excited and paranoid at the same time. I hate it here. Because it's like, oh, this is exciting. You're gonna take me. You can take me on holiday. You can take me shopping. Oh, fun! But then I start getting paranoid when I notice that the energy is no longer coming in the way it used to. Like now, I'm hearing from him less. Now I'm like, oh, okay, he's found a new girl to spit this same spiel to, or he's recognized that it's not gonna work with me. So he's just counting his losses and he's about to dip. Welp. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed listening to that episode. And I hope that the next time you come across a guy who is love bombing you, you remember that you have the power because you have the pussy. You are not going to pass away from ignoring a guy back. Yes, you will have to overcome the challenge of impulse control if that's something that you already have difficulties with. But ultimately, a man is not smarter than you. A man cannot get from you what you don't already want to give. And I mean that in regards to access to your mind, access to your body in the context of you flirting back and you giving him that sexual, erotic banter. Hold it in, pace yourself, and always remember if a guy is love bombing you, this is your opportunity to see if he's the kind of guy who starts as he means to go on. But also, you've got to make your own assessments. Like, does this guy have a career or a job that allows him to afford such promises? Is this the kind of guy who is confident enough in himself to maintain this long term? So, those are your own assessments to make. And based on those observations, you will know how best to maneuver. But the goal has always got to be, do not let yourself get taken for a dickhead in the name of love bombing. Thank you for listening. And as always, I'll catch you in the next episode.